Hello and welcome back to the On the Slab Horror Show, the show that we bring to you each and every Friday night. Gentlemen, why we do this on a Friday night? Read the t-shirt.
Friday night is
It's
horror
horror
night.
night. Jeez, it's been a while since that t-shirt made an appearance.
Don't adjust your sets, folks. This isn't an old episode. This is a new one. We have two people that aren't celebrity guests. These are returning co-hosts. Welcome back to the Dynamo. How are you, sir? We're sporting a new look.
Yeah, man.
Just taking a page out of my book.
Yeah, get rid of it all. Fuck it. Why not? You know.
Looks like you're wearing a bald cap.
Do you know what it was? Do you know what it was as well? I was like, you know what? As you know, the last episode I still had hair, and I still have hair, but I was like, I'm gonna get rid of it before it gets rid of me. So I'm just gonna shave it while I still have it. So like, if it grows a little bit, there's still a bit of shadow there. You know what I mean?
And then a man that has more hair than both of us put together.
No, it's not hard. Two fucking baldy cunts. Of course, I have more hair. Any hair would be more than both of yous.
Hey, now, Ted. One is a baldy cunt. The other is a shaven cunt. All right.
Yeah,
Come
but
on, get it right.
Yeah, but they're still both bald heads. If I could have any hair on the top of my head, I'd still have more than the two of you put together.
That's true. That's true.
But I reckon our beards might go for it though.
No, they do. Yeah.
Tombstone Ted, welcome back.
Oh, that's the crack, lads. It's been a while.
It's been a little while, not too long, but a while.
Yeah.
So we've come up with a doozy. I found this picture that you can see over Ted's shoulder there, on one of the horror pages, and we thought it might make a good episode for a good discussion throughout the three mindsets that we have. Obviously, each of us have different opinions on certain franchises, on different killers. So it will be interesting to see how this battle goes. But yeah, as you can see, it's kind of cut off the top of the head. It says, who is the scariest horror villain of all time? And then there's a list of 12?
16.
16?
Yeah. Now,
16, yeah.
We will say Dracula isn't included because, well, we didn't create the image anyway, but the reason Dracula's not there is because it's he's just going to win, isn't he?
Yeah.
I mean,
I would think so, yeah. It's probably the best
who's going to beat
horror character that's probably ever made.
Yeah.
Really.
Yeah, I think it's fair to kind of leave the. Yeah, I mean, like you can't do much to him, can you? So
no.
Yeah.
Well, just stay in sunlight. You be grand.
Yeah, avoid the light.
Right. So I'll read them out, and then we'll each go through. We'll go through them and see which ones we want to get rid of, and see what comes out the victor at the end. So we've got Ghostface, Chucky, Freddy, Jason, Jigsaw, Pennywise, Pinhead, Leatherface, Michael Myers, Candyman, Hannibal Lecter, Jack Torrance, Samara Morgan. I was going to say Samara Weaving there for a second. The Creeper, Mary Shaw. If you're not sure who Mary Shaw is, she's from Dead Silence. And the man himself, Mick Taylor from Wolf Creek. Right, lads. Who wants to pick one, and we'll see where we go. If one that we'd like to eliminate, or you'd like to see eliminated early. Want to go? Who wants to pick one first?
I'd say it's a hard one actually to say who I want to eliminate. It'd be more like we'll pick one and.
Well, I know one that I'd like to get rid of.
You go first then.
Right, you go first then.
I'd go Chucky. I think Chucky was terrible. I know the films were entertaining. I just don't see it being a frightening film. I think it's more of a comedy horror than anything.
It's only scary when you're a kid. It was very scary around when I was a kid when that first came out. It was scary because I'm old enough to remember when the media was running with that, and rightly so, obviously, was running with the whole Jamie Bulger thing. Because the two boys that apparently they'd linked the Chucky film to the two lads taking him away and killing them, which was absolutely horrible. So that was the only real scary part of Chucky for me, was that like, oh shit, like this doll makes you do that, you know, because you're not old enough to understand. But I think the older you get, it's like
I think
not scary.
Yeah, I think the big problem with Chucky is that the way they have him do the killing.
Yeah,
because he's jumping out with them and shit like that. You're just like, it's a little fucking doll. You get that thing and you punt him away out the window, and best of luck to him. It would have been better if he was hiding under like sofas and taking
saw the knife or something like
and like hacking at the Achilles tendon or something like, and that puts them on the ground so they can't get up and run away. Do you know what I mean?
Like the old Gage from from Pet Cemetery.
Yeah, like it makes more sense rather than like obviously he's he's unkillable. He's a little doll, but so having him be able to like knock people down and run into people and stuff, you're just like if you saw that little thing running at you, just boot it when it got near you, wouldn't you?
That's actually a good point, because if you think about it, it's like if you saw Gizmo jumping at you, like you might be able to gnaw at your face or whatever, but the difference with Gizmo, say, and the gremlins, when they grow into big fucking gremlins, they're
Green
still not
gremlins.
huge, but they
Yeah.
find creative ways to kill you.
Yeah.
Rather than you see like this small thing jumping at you with a knife, you literally just hold it at arm's length and go, all right.
Do you remember in the first Gremlins when he's going around with the belt sander?
Yeah.
Yeah. It is, and but to me that's what I've always felt with Chucky. It's not that it's like bad. It's just like it is entertaining for what it is, but it's one of the harder ones to suspend your disbelief for because you're like, I just kicked that thing. Don't get me wrong. If you were asleep and you woke up and a little fucking doll like that was standing over you with a knife, you'd shit yourself. Do you know what I mean? But
Yeah.
when it's just like, and that would have been better. Do you know, like if he's killing people while they sleep and stuff like that, just running at you, fuck
Yeah.
off.
Poor old Morris isn't going to be happy with us eliminating that one out first. But
Morris?
funny point, yeah, Morris is a big Chucky fan.
But that's because he looked like him as a kid until he lost his hair, and then he looks like Tintin now.
Yeah.
Funny that you mentioned that point, Ted, with him having him hide under beds and stuff. So in one of the later ones, they actually have him do that, and they have him like slice the girl's Achilles tendon, and then he electrocutes her and stuff.
Yeah.
So they moved into that, but
Yeah, which is the way to go.
early on, it wasn't for me, and I was never really associated with the franchise.
Yeah,
So
I was similar. I was never mad at it.
I'm happy enough to take that out first.
Yeah, I'd be the same. Yeah.
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 Anyone got a next one they want to go with?
I'm going to go with Mick Taylor. Not because he's a bad character, and it's a very realistic character that could,
Yeah.
fuck you up. So I get that, but we're talking about the scariest villain of all time, and in the realm of like who scares you the most. If the chips, like if there's a bit of a level playing field here, and I know there's a way out, I'm not afraid of this motherfucker. You know what I mean?
He's a nasty motherfucker, though.
He is, but so can we be. I'm not afraid of that. I'm not afraid of like that. Whereas like I'm afraid of something I can't control. Do you know what I mean? Does that make sense?
He's a good lad, actually. I met him for Love.
Yeah, you met him, didn't you? Yeah.
And I was getting the photo, and he's like, "I'm gonna choke you." And I was like, "I wouldn't."
Yeah.
I'd kind of agree with you in on that. Like, in this sense, he's human.
He's a man, exactly.
Yeah. Which doesn't necessarily rule him out because, like, there's going to be some other ones that are just men, but they're larger than life in that sense. I never felt Mick Taylor was larger than life.
No, he was just there, wasn't he? And it was his victims were unfortunate where they were. Do you know what I mean?
Yes,
it was a
wrong place, wrong time.
Yeah.
It's kind of he's like a hunter. Do you know what I mean?
And a really good shot with that sniper rifle too.
Oh yeah,
great shot. But he's a hunter. Do you know what I mean? Like you're in the wrong place, and he's like, "Right, I'm going to hunt you." If you're not there, then you're fine.
Yeah.
He's not
on the
going
other side of Australia. No one's caring.
like if I run into him, say at a bar, okay, and he's not got a sniper rifle. Now, we could have something in his pocket, or whatever. That's fine. We're getting into the nitty gritty here. I'm like, well, no bothers. If we want to have a straightener, that's no problem. You don't scare me. Whereas if I run into Pinhead in a bar, I'm like, what the fuck is going on here?
It wouldn't be one that you wouldn't mind calling. Let's go have a knock.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And there's another man afterwards that I'll say the same thing, which I'm sure someone else will. So
he's in the picture right above him.
Exactly. Yeah, we think alike, my man. We think alike. So that's my pick anyway.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, it would have been one of the two that we just mentioned there that would have been my next pick.
Yeah, you go for your next pick, so.
What you got, Ted?
This is a bit of a strange one. I think Samara can kind of go.
Oh, no.
I think she's extraordinarily strong and she's very creepy and everything like that, right? But only if you watch the video. So you're in no danger if you haven't seen the video. Do you know what I mean? She's of no danger.
But say you have. That's what I'm saying. Like, so my reasoning with Mick Taylor is like when I said, okay, I'm tied up, but there could be a way out here. Do you know what I mean? Whereas let's put ourselves in the predicament for the sake of argument. We have
Yeah.
watched the video.
So you've now got 7 days to figure it out.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
for me, if you went original Ringu,
That's well, I'm going with original Ringu, yeah.
I would have said no chance, but American version, I'd be happy to see go. Yeah, I think it was a bit
Yeah,
long.
maybe
Fair enough. Fair enough.
I might be basing it more just off the American version because they've obviously picked the American version here, right?
Okay. Yeah,
Um,
that makes more sense then.
So
Yeah, well, then I'd be happy with that then.
if you were going with Ringu, yeah, but again, it's still
You're fucked.
it's you're still
Game
fucked, right?
over.
But it's still you have to be in a very specific situation. Do you know what I mean? You have to.
Can we just say that Ringu, right, just fucking scares you anytime you watch it.
Oh yeah, it's
Jay
brilliant.
Horror.
From minute one to fucking the last minute, it's just the way it's shot, the fucking atmosphere of it. Shout out to Carl King, atmosphere.
Yeah.
Jay Horror is just off the charts, though.
Number one. Yeah.
Yeah, like listen, if people feel that she should stay in a bit longer, I'm happy to leave her.
No,
in
I agree with you.
But I just kind of think.
I mean,
they picked Samara, so
is there staying in longer? Because at some stage or another, I have a feeling she's going to be eliminated in it anyway. So whether she goes now or
yeah, true.
I'm happy for her to go purely because of the reasoning that you mentioned. If it's the American version, yeah, and it is the American version essentially here. So
yeah.
I'd be happy enough with that. Yeah, I think there are three enough picks that could go.
Yeah.
My next pick is one that we mentioned there a minute ago. It's a pick above Mick Taylor in the poster. It's not entirely someone you wouldn't have a fear of seeing in a bar and going, well, let's have a knock outside if you want to go. Like, in Jack Torrance.
Yeah.
Great movie, great character. His descent into madness was phenomenally done by Jack. But again, is he the scariest character on that list? I don't think so.
No, because essentially as well, he's chasing a woman and child around. Like, if you have, yourself, you're like, okay, he doesn't have an axe the whole time in the movie.
He's just running around at times.
Yeah.
And
so as soon as he kind of puts it up to you when he's at his typewriter, you're like, okay, well, stand up, so. You know what I mean? It's like there's not a lot to be.
No, I do say the Stanley Kubrick's version of The Shining left a lot of his aggressive nature out of it.
Yeah.
And rightly so. Like obviously, there's a lot of domestic violence in that book. But I think for me, he would be the next to go.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's also that it's a descent into madness, but he's not. Like, he's obviously a villain. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm not saying he's not a villain, but he's not a villain in the sense of the way some of these others are. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, like he's a victim of circumstance, actually, because...
Yeah, like he's lost his mind, which is dangerous, and he goes on a killing spree. But he's the kind of guy that's going to have lost his mind, and if he's out in the real world, right, this is his family, and they're trapped in the house with him, right? Well, if he's out in the real world, and he's out on the main street running along with an axe, right?
He's getting put down.
It's terrifying. Don't get me wrong. You'd be like, "Oh shit!" But you just run away from him. I mean, you just run, and like he might get someone, he might not, but you just run, and eventually someone's just going to put him down.
Theoretically, if you're on a street and he's chasing you, there's enough people that are going to overpower him down.
Yeah. Sure, we've seen it. We've seen it in videos, and we've seen it in real life. Yeah, exactly. Okay, so he's gone.
Out the door, Jack.
Yeah, the gap.
What do you got next?
It's up to me now. Ooh, now we're getting into the nitty gritty. So just for the listeners, we still have Ghostface, we still have Freddy Krueger, we still have Jason Voorhees, we still have Jigsaw, we still have It the Clown, we still have Pinhead, we still have Leatherface, still have Michael Myers, Candyman, Hannibal Lecter, and
Creeper and Mary Shaw.
So I'm going to go with Hannibal Lecter now for much of the same reasons that we have had there. Now, he's a little bit more intricate than the ones that we've gotten rid of that happens to be just human, in the sense that he's like a master manipulator. So well
highly intelligent.
highly intelligent, and is probably playing 5D chess while you don't even know what a pawn is.
Pretty
You know?
much. Yeah. He's
Yeah.
about 16 steps ahead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I'm picking him on the basis that he's human and that the rest of the gang here could easily take him if it happened to be the case, or
Yeah.
or could do worse to me. You know.
I don't know. Getting eaten alive is pretty bad, I suppose, and then getting fed your own brain.
Yeah, I wouldn't allow that to happen to myself. I think I'm too shrewd enough because I do know what a pawn is, and I wouldn't put myself in a position to allow. I'd just be like,
what
"You're
is a
way."
castle?
Yeah, I'd be like, "You, sir, are like, I like you, but you're way too good for me, so we can't be friends." I'm out.
Good
So,
luck.
I'm happy enough to see Hannibal go, but I think
he
there's
is one of
also
the scariest characters, though.
I think in
Of all
terms of
time.
scariest
Yeah.
horror villains, I think he actually probably is like really, really high up there because yes, he's human, but it's a very believable. Like this is something that
Yeah.
could happen. You know what I mean? And that
So, what is actually the metrics? We didn't decide metrics on
well,
this.
there is no real metrics. I suppose we'll just
essentially,
discuss it as we go.
but there will be listeners actually there going, "Shut up, Ian."
Yeah.
Shut up,
But
Greg.
as
Shut
I
up,
said,
Ted.
everyone's going to have their own preference. Do you know what I mean?
So
And
scariest. If we're going on scariest, I still think I'm going to choose Hannibal still. So that's why I just want to kind of at least, if anyone's kind of pointing at the screen going, "Shut up," my reasoning is because he is human and there could be a way out of it, but he's still scary.
then
Do you know what I mean?
not to quote Predator or anything, but if it bleeds, you can kill it.
Yeah.
See what I mean?
I think there's also the thing, like part of what makes Hannibal so scary is that he like this it could happen. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And has happened. We know that in terms of, well, not to that extent, but in terms of
Yeah.
people being cannibals.
But
Well,
when
I
you think
mean-
of something that this could happen in real life, this could
Well, I
happen
mean-
to you. Do you know what I mean? That
I mean, his character was loosely based on a mixture of Ed Gein, who
Yeah.
has done it, and
About,
of course,
every horror character ever made is based
Yeah.
off that man.
yeah, the OG, and I don't mean that in a nice way, but
Yeah.
No.
and same with what's his name, Dahmer.
Leatherface.
You know what I mean,
Dahmer,
Dahmer.
yeah.
So, like, absolutely, it can happen, and it's probably. I mean, let's be honest. What Dahmer did was probably as horrific, if not more horrific, than some of the stuff Hannibal done, even in the story. Like so.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I mean, a spine-chilling performance from Anthony Hopkins for the
Oh,
12
yeah.
minutes of screen time that he had,
Brilliant, yeah.
Unbelievable.
and a
That
well-deserved
scene,
Oscar.
that scene where he guts your man in the cell and has him like an angel on the fucking.
I'm pretty sure there's a scene in Saw where they got. Do you remember they do the angel wings to Carrie
Yeah.
in it? I'm pretty sure that's where that came from.
Yeah,
Oh yeah, definitely. It's
Definitely.
definitely a homage, yeah.
definitely. Yeah, it's
Um,
one of the most incredible pieces of cinematography. Actually, just that scene, because I remember I watched that when I was about 12. Shouldn't have watched it. Obviously, snuck the VHS up.
Did you get it off your granny? Did you?
Yeah, it was out in my granny's house, man. It was out in the Finglas house. I snuck it up during the day. I was very tactful because I was like, during the day they don't expect you to be
Watching something like that.
watching something like that. So I'll just go up and then pause it and switch the channel.
Yeah.
When it come in.
Theoretically, probably the greatest horror ever made. Really.
Yeah, it could be. It could be argued.
Well, is it like it's not a full horror, it's not a full thriller, it's a hybrid mix, but obviously to win the big five at the Oscars was something.
It's essentially it's similar.
Yeah.
Similar to the debate we've had before about Jaws. Is it a horror? Is it not? Like it
Yeah.
is essentially a horror because it's horrific. It's it's
It's mind-bogglingly badly.
Is there one moment of rest in the movie? The answer is no, because it's again the way it's shot at the very start, from when you see Starling out running and blah blah blah. It's shot like in a very weird kind of coloring. It's not a very colorful movie. It's dull. It's not in like Hill Valley in the sun, and it's Washington or wherever it is, and it's very dull. It's very dark, and it's dark the whole way through the movie.
Yeah, that's a point I've made before. There's certain movies where you have comic elements in it.
Yeah.
Obviously, all the Fridays have it. All the Nightmare on Elm Street have the comic relief. I've always said Silence of the Lambs, The Exorcist. There's a few of them that have none whatsoever, and there's no relief
Yeah.
that you get from it.
Halloween, to an extent, doesn't really have any comedy in it too. Like, but in fairness, it has safe characters in it almost. Like,
I think the friend is supposed to be the comic relief.
That kid getting knocked down the stairs was really funny.
well, that's just funny because it's funny. Yeah. But I think Loomis is kind of like he's your safe.
Yeah, he's
guy.
the guy. Yeah.
When he's around, you're kind of like, okay, he's it's because of his charming voice and his demeanor. But essentially, it's like you don't get a minute's rest with it because you're like, shit, something's gonna happen, and it's probably because of the music. And
to be fair, a lot of Carpenter's films, The Thing doesn't have a great lot of comedy relief either. The Fog doesn't either. There are bits.
Well, the thing
does, because the boys they joke around with each other a lot. Yeah. There's a lot of banter between them.
No, but what I'm saying is there's not one particular comic relief character in it.
Oh
no,
like
but there are a bunch of lads out there having the banter with each other. Do you know what I mean? So there is elements of like safety in it.
Yeah.
If
for want of a better word.
But I know what Ted's saying. It's like it's like when we're talking about when we go back to the J horror and we talk about Ringu. It's like I mean, I don't know who, if anyone's watching this that hasn't seen it. I doubt there is anyone that hasn't. But if you haven't, like, just lock yourself in a dark room and watch that. Like, because that's what happened to me. I put it on by chance on the Sci-Fi channel back in the day. Do you remember the Sci-Fi channel?
What a channel!
Oh, yeah.
What a channel!
It came on at 10 o'clock, and like everyone was away.
Should not have been on that channel.
I know everyone was away, like on holiday, and I was sitting there on my own going, "Gran, I watched that." I couldn't leave the fucking room.
I'm in trouble here.
Yeah. It's terrifying.
Major trouble. So we all agreed in that Hannibal.
Yeah, I think there's a fair enough reason to move him out. I'm gonna go with one. I know King's not gonna be happy with it.
Oh no.
I think Leatherface kind of goes here. Again, he's just human. Do you know what I mean? Like it is terrifying, the idea that you're trapped out of that house and the family's hunting you and stuff. But again, it's very
victim of circumstance.
Not necessarily victim of circumstance, but just if the police come out, they're gonna sort that out fairly fucking quick, aren't they?
Tell that to the sheriff that lost his life to give Grandpa the.
Yeah, that's because they sent one. Yeah, they sent one boyo out. Like, if you escape and you go down, you're like.
I think Ted means like to send the full force of the law.
If you happen to escape, right, and you get into the police station, you go, listen, boys, there's a fucking family up there, right? This mental bastard's wearing this leather thing on his face. He's running around with a fucking chainsaw, cutting up everyone. They're gonna be like, right, get the guns up there. That family's dead, right? The whole lot of them down, dead, done.
He has lipstick on, like,
on his mask. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Like, don't get me wrong, the guy's scary. If you were in that situation, you'd be terrified.
Oh, he's terrifying. Like, that is one of the most terrifying movies ever. Like,
and again, you'd be terrified in the situation, but it's something that can be resolved with relative ease.
I'm just looking at that.
Definitely your man with the big fucking leathery thing on his face and running around with a chainsaw. Do you know what I mean?
I'm just looking at that picture. So that's the 03 remake Leatherface in that photo.
Yeah.
So that's
with the lipstick.
You know when he has Eric Bauer's face, the Jessica Biel's boyfriend's face, on it standing outside the truck. Yeah. That's that scene. Andrew Berezovsky was jacked going into that.
Yeah. Listen, I'm not saying the guy's not a scary character. I just think
the original lad is more scary though than anyone.
Yeah, Gunnar Hansen was phenomenal.
Like he's a fucking linebacker with an attitude. Like, I mean, this and the way he opens the sliding door, you don't expect that.
Yeah,
it's like, get out of the fucking.
The lump hammer to your man's head is awful.
Yeah, and listen, in that situation, you'd be fucking terrified. So he is
very
scary. You're a victim of
circumstance, though, as you said. If you're not in that position,
you're not up at his family's house. He's not traveling around. He's not coming near you. You just stay away from his house. You're probably pretty safe.
I think you are. I think you're 100% safe if you're not like a stranger in that town.
Everybody knows what's happening in that town.
Yeah,
there's like stay away from that. fucking house, like so.
Go on up there to the house. No, I'm not going to that big scary looking house, pal. Sorry, not
What
happening.
that
And
rundown house?
usually,
No, I
and
think I'll stay away from it.
usually in these movies as well, because we've seen it in the old like Draculas and all as well.
Oh yeah.
You're not going up there, are you? Like straight off the bat, you're like, actually, no, I'm not. I was planning
what?
to, but no, I'm not.
No.
Why wouldn't I go up there? Oh yeah, the family up there are nuts, man. They're fucking running around with chainsaws and all. You know what? Actually, yeah, I won't go up there. You're right. But that would be stupid. I won't go up there. I'll just go home.
There's no
Lovely.
need.
Thanks, lads. I'm off.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
that's again, you're right. It's probably another reason to go.
Yeah, and listen, I do think it is like, listen, it is hard because you're ruling out things because of victim of circumstance, and it has to, and this is where these lists get difficult, and without putting a very hard, this is what you have to keep in mind. There's a lot of things you can use to rule things out.
Yeah.
But it's very hard to make a set of rules because they're all such different characters. Do you know what I mean?
And I mean, it just sparks a better debate rather than going, well, you're eliminating them on kill count because then you get the same answer every time.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
You want to put a bit of context to your reasoning for
Yeah.
that reason.
And it's not like we're just going, oh, Pinhead's next to go, and then Pennywise, and then this, and then that.
Yeah. And listen, if someone feels like, no, actually, I think that person should stay in because I actually might feel like, I'd say we've all looked at this list and kind of have an idea of who we think could win. Like 3 or 4, you're kind of like, right, I think they could win. So if that's one of the ones that you're like, no, actually, I think that could win, you can kind of veto ruling it out now if you have a good reason. You can't just be like, I'm just going to veto that though.
Me personally, I don't think I would have went this early on him, but the reasoning that we've used is pretty spot on. And when you look at it, some of the others are supernatural. So
personally, I would put Ghostface ahead of him because it's the exact same reasons.
In terms of going before him,
yeah, I would have had Ghostface ahead of going before.
The only reason I wouldn't do that is because theoretically that could be 3 or 4 different people.
That's what I was going to follow it up with that by saying, but you or Ted could be.
That was also my thought process on it. Like, it's not locked down to this location. Now, obviously, in the films, it's always to do with Sydney and her family, or obviously in the later films, the 2 girls, Billy Loomis, and the connection to Billy Loomis and stuff. But theoretically, it could just be 2 boyos decide, right, we're putting on the mask and we're just going to start killing the people around us. And it can just happen anywhere. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
So for me, I was like, that lets him go a little bit further than Leatherface. But
I
like, wouldn't argue
because he doesn't dwell in a particular domain.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? He doesn't have like, oh, right, you don't go to that house because that's where the bad people live. Whereas, as you said, like, I could be up in Ted's house for WrestleMania next week, and then one of the members of the fucking party happens to be Ghostface.
Yeah. Theoretically, you see that in Scream 1.
Yeah, you're just at a house party and someone just gets killed.
Yeah,
exactly.
Do you know what I mean? Like,
so are we in agreement then? We can move on to the next one. To Greg, you're happy for?
I'm happy to go Leatherface out there. I wouldn't. I'd probably go Ghostface here.
Next.
No. Yeah,
see, I don't think it really matters. It's not necessarily. This isn't necessarily a list of. I know, this one needs to go out now, and this is the order we'd put them in. Like, if we were ranking these, I'd probably.
Yeah, we're trying to get down to the nitty gritty of who.
Yeah, just get rid of whoever. So it's just kind of whoever in your head. You're like, yeah, I think that one. So
I'd say for me then, I'm going Jigsaw here. I love Jigsaw. I love the Saw movies. I think they were brilliantly done. The concept kind of got old midway through. Saw 10 came out and it just reinvigorated everything. Fortunately, we got the news that Saw 11's been cancelled. But I think the rehashing of John Kramer getting killed in 3, and then all of a sudden he's back again in 4, 5, 6. Do you know what I mean? And like, I know they're setting different timelines. Then he has Amanda, and he obviously has Costas Mandalore come in, and then he has a couple other people helping him out. So it's a very similar process to Scream, to Ghostface. It could be anybody, and then the design of the machines, technically you're killing yourself, so he's not really doing anything. He's just putting you in a position.
Yeah, see, I would say that the main problem that you seem to have is the continuity of it, and that's more to do with the films rather than the villain itself.
But see, the villain is an old man who's cancer ridden, theoretically.
Yeah, he is, but he still is managing to kidnap a
No, but
lot of people at a time.
he's manipulating people to do it
Yeah,
by
see,
by
that's
two
kind
and
of
three.
scarier than
Yeah,
anything.
but is
Though.
that not scary?
That's
Like
scary because that's kind of like, if you get into the conspiracy theory of like, oh, who's your shadow people in the background that are,
But
like, is the CIA, are they responsible for all these kidnappings? Like,
so
who do you trust? Kind
within
of,
that, then we've ruled out one master manipulator early because of the same reason. Do you know what I mean? With Hannibal Lecter.
yeah, but
yeah,
not
but
he
he's
wasn't as
direct.
powerful though as Jigsaw though.
I think with Hannibal Lecter though, Hannibal Lecter is directly involved with his victims,
I
whereas
I
Jigsaw
do think he's definitely
isn't.
right to go next though. I want to say that, but I agree with Ted.
I'm not saying I wouldn't vote him out, but I do think I think there's a lot more scariness to him than just, oh, but he's an old guy with
I think
cancer. I
the
think there's it.
scariest bit to him is the fact that he has designed these machines.
Yeah,
I think it's the manipulation. I think it's the fact that he's able to manipulate so many people to get these people into the situations they're in. Do you know what I mean? Like if you think about the very first film, like that's at the time, obviously, it's one of the most ingenious things that have been done in film in a very long time. But the fact that he just laid there that whole time,
So good. So
do you know what I
good.
mean? Like it's just there's something sadistic about that. Do you know what I mean?
like you're both correct in what you're saying. Like,
Yeah,
theoretically,
I don't mind him going. All I'm saying is I don't think I think he needs to be given his proper due as well of why he is a scary character. Like
Oh, like, absolutely. And as I said, I love the franchise, and I still rewatch it all the time. And like he was a great character, and the fact that he was brought in to do a 2 week shoot of just lying there and became a cultural icon,
yeah,
um, and spanned 10 films. Unfortunately, there's 10 films. It should only be 9 because Spire is dog shit. Um,
there should be a lot less than that.
but as I said, like obviously in the picture, it's Billy the Puppet. We obviously know it's Tobin Bell as Jigsaw, and about 4 others along the way. But
Yeah,
like he does go, if you know what I mean. And to me, he can manipulate people into doing it, and it's very similar to Ghostface. But for me, if you're beside him in a bar, right, and eventually he gets outed as who it is, so everybody knows who is doing it, who's manipulating people. So
yeah, but it doesn't stop him.
it does and it doesn't. It slows everything down for him, and then like his wife leaves him and stuff.
Yeah, and listen, I'm not saying that we shouldn't
But
eliminate him.
to
I'm just
be
saying.
fair though, Ted, you're kind of going back on what you said earlier. Like, we have to get rid of someone anyway, so it's not about what placement it is.
No, I'm not saying that he should be kept in until
Like, he's
later.
not going to be number one.
No,
So
but all I'm saying is that Greg wrote him off with quite, that he wasn't scary. All I'm saying is that I think we should just give him his due as well. Like we gave Hannibal his due of being intelligent and why he was scary.
but Hannibal Lecter himself is scary. I don't think Jigsaw is. I think it's the machines that are scary. Yeah, the manipulation side is scary, but like we're getting into the nitty gritty of how the brain works then. But like in
Yeah,
terms of just a character, because it's called Scariest Horror Villains of All Time.
Yeah.
So like,
yeah, but he's a villain because of his brain.
no,
Do you know what I
no,
mean?
I
Like
get that.
that's what
I
makes
get
him
that.
a villain.
But he definitely, like, it's not like you'd put, you know, like I would personally, for me, like for example, I'd be more afraid of Leatherface than him. So it depends on the person.
The
That's why
big
it's,
old unit coming at you there.
yeah, because I'm like, shit.
Like
I'm aware.
Yeah,
theoretically, if you got sat in a bar, right, and those 16 people are there, right, and they're saying have a knock with this person, have a knock with that person, you know who's Jigsaw.
yeah. If you're going to go out and have a knock with them, right? But if you're sitting at home, right, and you're like, if I go up to that house, I could get killed, right? But then you're also sitting at home and there's this thing on the news all the time of anyone that suffered from addiction or has possibly done something wrong in their life, which everyone has done something wrong in their life that, not necessarily as wrong as what the people in this film are being punished for, but everyone's done something that someone could deem you did something wrong or you hurt somebody. And you're like, oh, anyone that, like this person who did something wrong, they're getting captured and put into a room with fucking razor blades. It's a
That's horrendous.
psychological fear that takes over a community. Do you know what I mean? So I think that's all I was saying. I'm not saying that he shouldn't
Well,
be eliminated.
let's get on to the next one, because we'll probably be here all night if we were to go do a 20-minute segment on each character, to be fair.
Yeah.
But you are right though. He does deserve quite a lot of credit. The films were very good, and he is a great character. I just don't know if he's overly scary about it.
Yeah.
For me, anyway.
Yeah.
What you got, Ted?
Well, are we saying that we've eliminated Ghostface already?
No.
Like we never actually said we're eliminating Ghostface, but we gave reasons why we would eliminate him.
We did.
So are we saying he's already eliminated here, or
no? I wouldn't say so. I think Ian, when he said it to me, was thinking that was going to be my next pick.
That would be mine, personally, but it's your pick, though, Ted.
Well, what I'm going to say is we'll just go with Ghostface then, because we've already discussed why we would get rid of him. So there's no point in keeping him in any longer if we're already going to say.
Well, we already know, he's not going to be.
Fair.
Yeah, so I'll say Ghostface, and we've already given our reasons as to
Unless
why.
we're doing a swerve and then he wins the whole thing.
I would love him to win. But...
It wasn't this Ghostface. It was this guy.
That Ghostface.
Yeah. I would love him to win, but no, we've already discussed why we don't think he should get there. So we're down to Freddy, Jason, Pennywise, Pinhead, Myers, Candyman, the Creeper, and Mary Shaw.
Ironically, we have 2 from each row left.
Mad, isn't it?
Right,
That wasn't by design.
No, picking who we saw.
What you got? You're gonna make one of the lions very light now.
Yeah.
What do you got?
It's tough, isn't it? It's getting tough.
It's tough at the top, all right.
Oh yeah.
Who are you picking here? Get that Dutch courage into you and give us an answer.
Is it me, or I thought?
Yeah,
Ted?
Yes,
no. I went Ghostface there.
Oh, sorry, I thought Ted was thinking. My bad. Ooh. I'm gonna go. Oh shit, man! It is tough, isn't it? I'm gonna go Candyman.
You little bastard.
That was his next pick.
That was my next pick.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go Candyman. And Greg, you can give the reasons for my choosing of Candyman.
For me, I don't like this movie. Never did.
No.
Very boring. Again, you're on this victim of circumstance. It doesn't affect you if you haven't said the name 3 times.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And do you know what I mean? It's not like you're calling a guy called Paul, and he shows up, or going Biggie Smalls.
Or Beetlejuice. Do you know what I mean? You know.
I mean, like Tony Todd. Tony Todd was phenomenal in it. But for me, it's just
not a very well. It's not a very well, like the theory of, without spending too much time on it. The theory of the movie is great. Like, I mean, I remember being told about Candyman and seeing the ads for it, and then going into the bathroom and saying it 4 times, and then wondering what I say if So like that's kind of like, oh shit, yeah. But it's similar to the Beetlejuice thing. Like, he's not really a threat. Like, he's not a part of your life if you don't want him to be.
Yeah, and it comes from this sort of thing, and we're starting to see at the moment, we're seeing this big wave of horror films that are taking old child cartoons and child icons and turning them into horror films. So obviously you had like The Grinch, Winnie the Pooh, Popeye, and stuff are all coming out. So that's something that's happening now. But when Candyman came out, they were taking the concept of, and obviously Beetlejuice had done it before, but maybe this doesn't translate to other countries. I don't know. But Bloody Mary was one that was quite big in Ireland.
Yeah.
And why would you ever do it if there was a chance that you were going to get killed from doing it? It's because you were with a group of your mates, And they were all like, "What? Are you scared to do it? Are you scared to do it?" And you didn't want to be scared to do it.
You're
So
goddamn right. I'm scared to do it.
But like, it's always
Yeah.
it's always teenagers and stuff to do that, and you don't want to. You never wanted to appear fucking scared. So like, you do it, and then this is what happens. But as you said, unless you do it, you're safe.
Yeah.
So as long as you don't say his name 3 times in the mirror.
That's the old question, isn't it? Like, do you want to die brave
No.
hero or live a live coward? You know?
Yeah.
I'll live as a live coward. Thanks.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
you've got kids, man.
Yeah.
Right,
yeah.
Not your kids.
That would have been my pick, but
Okay. Sorry.
right. I'm going Mary Shaw here. Again, another victim of circumstance. Wrong place, wrong time for a lot of people. Screaming, she kills you. Just stay away from the town, and you're fine. And don't be involved in
Amen.
in her killing.
Yeah, I'm with Greg there. I mean, like, that's the most realistic situation, isn't it? Like, it's like just stay
I think
away.
I'm gonna watch that tomorrow. Actually, I haven't seen that in a long time.
I'm
It's
gonna watch it.
awesome.
I'm gonna watch it in bed now. I think. Yeah.
Now I'll give another one, and I'll go quick because it's kind of a similar reasoning. And although I think this character is a lot stronger in their spot, if you're in that circumstance, I think Pennywise. If you're not in Derry, Maine,
you're safe.
You're safe.
That was my lined up next pick if it hadn't gone.
You can just leave and just not come back. Do you know what I mean?
As soon as you cross the town border, you're gone. You're fine.
Yeah.
And
there's a lot of bad shit in Derry, Maine, though.
Yeah.
Fucking,
and the
even
thing is,
King, you son of a bitch.
Even if you get born right the year after he's been there, and
you're 29
as they've said before, it's not. There's no set time. It's somewhere between 27 and 30 years is the actual thing. There's no actual set time because he's an agent of chaos, so he wouldn't stick to something so rigid. But like if you're born the year after, you're gonna be like 26, and you're gonna be like, sorry, when was the last time this prick was here? What? 27 years ago, right? Oh well, I'm fucking off. I'm 25. I'm off. Like I'm not staying here. I'm not waiting for him to come back. Yeah, I'm not waiting for him to come back. I'm going now. Best of luck, lads.
The gap forever.
Yeah, I'm gonna go, and I'll be back in about. I'll come back in about 5 or 6 years, lads. When
I'm never coming back.
No, because you can come back. You can come back every few years because you can be like, right.
What
he was there last year.
I live on the outskirts of town, just outside the town lines.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Oh, he was here last year, right? I'll be back for 20 years. So lads,
I live in Shankill, unfortunately, but I'll do it.
Yeah. I mean, so yeah, I think it's very similar reasons. I think he's when you're within his parameters, extraordinarily strong, but you have to be within them.
So who are we left with then, Ted? Down to you.
So we're left with
Freddy and Jason, Pinhead, Mike Myers, and the Creeper. If my collections are right,
you're correct.
That's what I have. Yeah.
Okay, so it's my pick. No, it's Eno's pick.
Is it? I thought that was Ted's. Sorry.
No, yeah, I just eliminated Pennywise there. Yeah, so.
You did. Right, I'm gonna have to make some tough decisions here, really, haven't I?
It's gonna get painful soon, very soon.
I'm going Freddy Krueger. I'm doing it, and it's not because he's like literally Freddy Krueger is one of the scariest characters from I believe all of our childhoods that grew up in the 80s and 90s. But just based on the logic that we're going on tonight, because I mean it's the only way out, really, isn't it, to go by our logic without just saying like straight up, oh, X, Y, and Z is the scariest. So my logic is again based on the fact that if I'm not from that town where that paedophile lived and did that horrible thing, then there's no reason for me to be scared. Now, if I am from that town, you could make an argument that shit, you're kind of screwed because you're going to have to sleep at some stage. It's a tough one. I mean, in terms of character,
I'm just trying to think. Is he limited to his town? I try to remember from. It's been a while since I've watched some of the other
ones.
He's
not limited. He's not limited to his town in terms of like it's Nightmare on Elm Street. Fair enough. He's not limited to his town, but you do have to have though.
They changed that in the third one when he went outside of it.
But you have to have a connection to him in some way, though.
No, so when they went to 3 in the mental hospital, they all didn't have the thing. The only connection he had was they all spoke to Nancy at one stage. So then theoretically, anyone that spoke to that woman is a connection.
Yeah.
And don't forget, New Nightmare set in Los Angeles.
Yeah, that's true.
That does put a spanner into it.
Where he comes into the real world theoretically.
Yeah, like oh yeah. See, like my toss up was between him and Jason.
See, for me, I wouldn't have been taking him out there. I would have said, because theoretically you have to sleep, and when you sleep you dream.
Just
Right?
go on the bag forever.
Yeah, that works too. Which means then you have to theoretically become involved somewhere. Not saying you will, but there's that potential.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. It's tough. I had to make it.
See, there is the argument that you don't have to dream as well, though.
I know you can take stuff that.
No, well, it's not even necessary that you have to take stuff. So dreams happen when you're in the REM portion of sleep. So if you don't hit that REM portion, you don't really dream.
So you micro nap.
So if you can either micro nap or deep sleep. Now, it's how you regulate that you do both.
Yeah, true.
So they changed. They used that in 5, I think, when one of the girls are pregnant because the baby dreams, which brought him into her line of thing. Even when she wasn't asleep, he was attacking. Right?
Yeah.
But it does get silly though, doesn't it? Then because it gets into the DC line of things. Well, hey, Marvel, we've got Superman who he can do everything.
Awful.
Yeah.
And then they used the micro nap in the 2010 one.
Yeah.
So theoretically, they've exhausted all of the aspects that it could be.
Yeah.
I do think they have, but I think that's also. See, this is kind of where some of this kind of falls down a bit because they actively go to close loopholes because they're like, oh, people have come up with how you could just avoid this.
Yeah.
And they're like, let's just put something into a film.
I'd be sticking with the first 2 movies, to be honest with you.
First 2 or 3. Three.
I'm happy to
first
go
2
as
or
far
3.
as 3.
First 3. Yeah.
So it does become hard to rule them out, but it's also, I think it's going to be tough to rule any of them out. Kind of getting to this point.
Well, I have a good point for the next one that I'm going with. I personally wouldn't have been going Freddy there though myself.
Right. Well, will we leave Freddy for the moment and we'll go with your one, Greg, and see if that changes anything?
Because he is a big character. In fairness, that you could go toe to toe in the final 3. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. So go on, Greg. You give us which one you were thinking.
I'm going the Creeper here. Same reasoning as Pennywise. Every 23 years, you're out the gap. Good luck.
Yeah. I think that's fair.
You come across him and he wants you, you're not getting away, so you're fucked anyway, right? But if you're not near that area, every 23 years when he comes around, you're fine.
Yeah.
Pretty much, you're legitimately fine. Like if you're not on the East 9 highway, you're sound.
Yeah, I think that's a fair enough reason to.
Great character, great movies. Apart from Reborn, that was atrocious. 1 and 2 was phenomenal. 1 especially, when it was proper horror and it was done in that way. The fact that he eats you to regenerate is absolutely terrifying.
The one is the only one I like personally.
Do you not like 2? 2 was a bit of crack, I thought.
We're not getting into it. I'm not getting into film reviews of it. For me, do you know what I would have loved if I didn't know what he fucking was.
I did. I wish they hadn't gone into that until myself.
Exactly. I think that Undertaker preacher type character of just coming up like the fucking old gunslinger. What is this guy? You know, it's like, and then he's an alien. You're like, oh shit.
Did you ever? I don't know whether any of you's ever done it. On the DVD, there's a deleted scene in it where he speaks.
No.
So you know the scene when they get to the lady with the cat's house.
Yeah.
And he comes out holding her. he turns around after he throws her down before he chases them. And he goes, "She smelled bad," and just throws her down. I was like, I'm so glad they didn't put it in, but that's
Yeah, it's better off not having that in, I think.
It's like there's a similar character in I don't know whether you might be familiar with it, Ted. You know the Preacher series.
Yeah.
You know the comics, but you know they done a show as well. They had
Is that the one with Walter Goggins?
it was the one written by Garth Ennis. Preacher, he's a priest and basically there's all these kind of biblical characters. But one's called they're all saints in it. They come down from heaven or they come up from hell to get involved on earth and shit that's going down. And one is called the Saint of Killers. He's basically the Saint of Killers. And I often thought, like, geez, the Undertaker was probably loosely based on that, or at least maybe Undertaker based his character on that later on.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah,
because his only mission is to come down and just kill, you know. But the whole great part about it is it reminds you of the Creeper, where it's like we don't know nothing about this guy. And I thought I would have much preferred Creeper to be like that rather than when I found out he was an alien walking around and Clint Eastwood get up. I was like,
I really like, as much as I love the second one, it's great fun and whatnot. When the knife goes into the wall in the house at the start, and you see him as an alien in the sun, and it basically explains everything on a knife on a handle of a carving. I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah,
that's
and I'd agree. I think, and this is where I think a lot of these films make a mistake. Is that they have a good character, but they want to make it so the character doesn't die because they realize they've hit gold.
Yeah,
and they just start making them invincible and
Absolutely.
aliens and this, that, and the other. So I'd be happy enough to see the Creeper go. I do think, yeah, again, as Greg said, if you're not around that area every 23 years, you're safe. Just don't go there.
Like when you think about it, right? Greg, you and me talked about this before in a very, very early episode. That's one of the geniuses of John Carpenter. He didn't necessarily want to make Michael Myers this unkillable.
It wasn't meant to be. Yeah, it was meant to be.
It wasn't meant to be. It was Hollywood and the powers that be went, no, we gotta get this. We gotta keep it going. The same way they done with Jaws. We gotta keep this going. We gotta keep this going. Like if you look at Michael Myers, you look at John Carpenter. It's why he's the GOAT actor or director of all time. He's happy to be one and done with movies, no matter how good the character is. I mean, even I'll give you an example. They Live, after They Live, like
I was literally about to say that they could have easily made a sequel.
And they wanted to, and they were contacting Piper to do it and everything. They were like, yeah, let's do it. But like Carpenter was like, no, like it's same thing. Big Trouble in Little China is actually a perfect example.
Greatest movie of all time.
Jack Burton, like, how would anyone not want to see him in 2, 3, 4 movies? But guess what? It's better that we didn't. And that's the thing. And that's the difference. I love Wes Craven, but that's the difference with Wes Craven and John Carpenter in that sense. Now, I'm sure Craven
to his guns,
but Craven designed his characters like that as well. He was also at fault for that you have to keep the.
But that's what I was going to say. Craven creates his characters and his antagonists to be an anthology,
exactly,
to have this. Whereas that's not what Carpenter does. Carpenter creates a character and he's like, right, there's my film for them, and we might come back to that at some other point, but at the moment that's all I wanted.
And by the way, that's not a knock on Wes Craven. Like,
it's just a different way of deciding to do things.
Sometimes you love something so much you let it die. You know, if you love it that much, set it free. And I think
I've said it a few times. I think Carpenter's definitely the better director, but Craven was the better character creator. He got more from his characters in terms of.
I could agree with that. I could agree.
I think he creates his characters.
He's a better storyteller, though. Carpenter's not just a great director.
Yeah,
he's great. Yeah. He's the best storyteller and director all in one because he was able to, like, just set a scene without much going on. Like, I was listening to something the other day, and it was like, if you notice a lot of movies these days, it's very rare you hear silence in movies, and that goes not just for horror, movies in general. Like
Nosferatu was the last one I think I'd seen, and the first
Nosferatu was the last one. Yeah, 100%. I'd agree with you there. But you so you know what I mean. Like
Sometimes
20
you don't
seconds
need that.
silence. The whole idea of an actor is that they can act with their body and with their emotions. You know what I mean? And it's not necessarily the actor that's at fault there; it's the director.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, that's something that all these boys that we're talking about just nail down. But anyway, so
Yeah.
the creeper's gone
Yeah.
Creeper's
and
gone.
Freddy's still in.
Yeah, we're still
That's
on the
fair.
fence with Freddy.
No, that's fair.
I'm I'm gonna go with one, and I don't really have a great reason for it, other than that I just really amn't that big a fan. And it's going to be Pinhead. I don't really have a
I
better
knew you and me
argument.
are going to fight here, Ted.
I don't have a great argument for why I don't want them. Like I
I
wouldn't.
do.
I just don't. I never really liked the Hellraiser series.
Either did I, but I have a good reason when you're ready.
Yeah, go ahead. I don't really have one other than that. I just don't really just never really got the
We
character all that much.
we again go back to the victim of circumstance.
Circumstance,
You don't
exactly.
mess with the box. You don't
Yeah.
undo the puzzle box. Nothing happens.
Well, that would have been my argument too. And to be honest with you, even though I am a fan of the franchise and the movie,
I love the character, but
yeah,
I don't like the franchise. It's very slow.
Well, no, I don't. I like the first two movies, and that's it.
Yeah,
That's
not for
it.
me.
No, they're not for you. But like, but
Yeah.
look, the exact same way, like I say, Jeepers Creepers isn't for me.
Yeah.
It's like
Yeah.
you can appreciate what they've done and why
Oh,
people
absolutely.
are fans of them.
And
Oh yeah, like I think
I'm
Pinhead has.
just a little bit darker than you boys. You know that, Greg. I got.
The,
See,
Yeah.
I think the Cenobites are great characters in like
Phenomenal,
yeah.
the creation
Exactly.
of the characters is brilliant. It's just I don't know, the films just never gripped me the way other films did.
But that's
So-
fair. And to be honest with you, Pinhead would be one that I would agree with, even though I think it's one of the best characters like ever created in terms of horror. Just the idea of it, I think it's fantastic. But there's no way it's winning for me
Yeah.
either. Like, and to be fair, actually, I'll go back. I'll be a bit of a hypocrite here. I actually I was on the spot. I probably would have picked Pinhead over Freddy Krueger too, if I'm being actually honest.
Pinhead was going next if it wasn't picked anyway. When it
Yeah.
got to me.
Ah, 100%.
Yeah.
100%.
So we're
Right.
down to the final three then.
Which is
Freddy.
the big three that appear on Mount Rushmore.
Freddy, Jason, and Myers.
Oh.
If for me here, I'd be going Jason out the gap. Good luck.
I'm picking Jason. I think it was my pick anyway, wasn't it? I'm going.
It is your pick, yeah.
I'm going Jason. Now that I've thought about it, I know people are going to be going, yeah, but you picked Freddy earlier. But look,
That's what the debate is about.
Yeah,
I've been worked into a shoot.
yeah. I'd be happy enough to go Jason here as well. I think this is what I was saying earlier about certain characters. Jason's one of them that as it
went on.
Yeah, they were just like,
Yeah.
just fucking make him invincible. He can go into space. He can fucking and like, don't get me wrong, the films are entertaining in their own right. But you took this character that's he's just a human. Like it's just a man, and then they were just like the characters become really popular, and it became popular because it's such a simple look. Do you know what I mean? Hockey mask, big knife.
The bag. I thought the bag look was much better with the one eye in it.
Yeah, but it's a simple look, and the character got over, and people really liked
But
it.
it's
so
not
they're
a
like,
cooler look, though, Greg. Do you know what I mean?
No, definitely not.
yeah.
No.
That's the.
But
that's
it just
difference,
the
yeah.
character got over, so they just kept pushing it, and they were like, right, we have to think of a way that can allow him to get into all these mental stuff, and it was basically just, let's just make him immortal. Do you know what I mean? Like, so
Well, theoretically, he was immortal anyway because he drowned as a child.
no, it doesn't mean you're immortal because you drowned as a child. You can
But he-
drown and be resuscitated.
No, he died. That's the reason Betsy Palmer was the killer in the first one.
Yeah,
She's taking revenge for things.
He's technically a demon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He came back from the dead somehow as a beefed up motherfucking adult.
yeah, suppose yeah.
Just went on the juice.
Yeah.
He was pressing up all those fish.
Yeah, no, I'd agree. I think like
Fish diet.
I think the only reason he makes it this far is that is because of the later films. Do you know what I mean? Like the fact that they made him into an immortal being that could, do all this shit.
Again, the franchise is fantastic. The first, like, it is actually because there is 100 films, but like the first 5 or 6 are all good in their own right. as Greg mentioned, even the one was it number 4 or 5 where he has the bag on the head.
No, two.
2. Sorry, it was 2. Um,
Um, like
but like they are good in their own right because of what they're meant to be. They're meant to be just like
slashers.
their movies now that you could play FIFA in the background
Yeah.
and put them on and know what's
Yeah.
going on and not be missing
You don't
anything.
even have to know what's going on. You could be off your fucking rocker watching.
Exactly.
This
Exactly.
guy's gonna kill a load of people. There's no convoluted backstory.
Yeah.
There's some really creative kills in some of them.
Exactly.
Jason actually has 2 of my favorite kills in horror. The sleeping bag scene is hilarious in 4.
Evan Bacon one is phenomenal as well.
That's the one scene that I remember growing up that actually terrified me because I had a bed like that. Obviously not killed by Jason, but yeah, the arrow through the throat was horrendous.
There's too much beef on you though, Greg. You would have been all right. Although if it was going through the throat, it's a different story.
Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't really matter how much.
Yeah.
But yeah, Jason has 2 of them. The sleeping bag kill is one of my favorite ones. And then in Jason X, where he puts the face into the liquid nitrogen.
That's fantastic. Yeah.
Yeah. His mask in Jason X, the steel one was awesome.
Yeah. I think he's a very good character, but I do think, yeah, in terms of scariest villain,
In terms of depth, he's the weakest of the 2.
the 3 left,
that are ahead of him now because we all agree that.
Yeah. So it comes down to Kruger and Myers.
Comes down to you 2 sons of bitches as well here now.
Yeah, but you can get your right to veto here.
No, there's definitely.
I love you. I'm just calling you sons of bitches because I love you. It's a terms of agreement.
I don't know which way. I kind of do have an idea of which way I'm going to go, but I don't know. Do you want to go first, Craig, or do you want me to go?
To be eliminated or to pick the winner?
Whichever.
We'll go pick the winner. I'm full on going. I'm sticking with Freddy Krueger. You have to sleep. Simple as that. Michael Myers, in the end, turns out to be human. Do you know what I mean? How do you beat an immortal being that comes back on 11 occasions now? Right? And Mike Myers is theoretically a human. Don't ask me how he keeps coming back. And I know they tried to make him immortal and then they didn't. And then they nerfed the story and then they went again. And for me, I love I never was a fan of Mike Myers bar the original one until the 2018 one came out. And then I got back into it. But yeah, for me, Freddy Krueger's like you can't not sleep.
But I'm going to go back here now on a previous episode where Michael Myers won this argument previously. And he made it past Freddy. Remember we had the battle. I think Dracula won it in the end.
All right, that was the most overpowered list that we ever done.
It was. Go back and watch that in previous episode. We don't remember the name right now, but our good producer, Mr. Carlton, will find it.
I'm nearly sure Dracula knocked both of them out.
He did, yeah, because we got to the final 3. Now, look, I can hear Greg's argument, but I mean, we're clutching at straws here, really, on this one because we're down to the last 2. Because essentially, you could say allowances have been made for both characters to be immortal. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because one lad just happened to be a paedophile and then came back as a demon and haunts you in your sleep. The other lad became a demon, then he didn't. What is he?
It really does depend on what storyline you go with.
Exactly. I mean, if you're going with John Carpenter's original plan, which is my reasoning for picking Michael Myers, is the fact that he's the shape. Nobody knows what he is. Do you know what I mean?
Which I preferred.
He's not a man. And to be fair, forget the fucking other ones that came before. Look, number 1 and number 2 is all you need to really know. In my book, and then obviously with the later ones,
I think for me, it's kind of
had a hand in them. You know what I mean? But like 4 and 5, whilst I liked them as, I mean,
standalones.
No, but I liked them as standalones because it's good background. Fucking shit,
they're not bad films. They're fine to have on over there.
Yeah,
but
exactly. But I mean,
as part of a continuous story, it's one 2-ish. I think you can make the
Two was,
argument that it's
two was okay, man.
Three
Two,
is
two
no, no,
phenomenal.
no. But I'm not saying in terms of a good film, but I'm saying in terms of the continuous story. It's 2018.
That's the new line, yeah.
Yeah, it's just those 4 are the one continuous line, and then
Exactly.
everything in between are their own kind of standalone films. Do you know what I
And
mean?
I've a bone to pick with number 2, right? What hospital has a jacuzzi in it?
A
well,
good one.
it's actually, I believe it's meant to be a therapy spa, not a
Yeah.
jacuzzi.
Oh, well, she got cooked in that, but yeah.
Yeah, it's meant to be a therapy pool.
I think for me, the reason is I've given my reason.
So my one of the things for me with Myers is, and it's obviously this is from the continued storyline of 2018 onwards. It seems like his goal is very much
one person.
It's one, like, he's very hyper focused on one person, and if you're in the way, he will kill you. But if you just get out of the way, like, if you're just like, right, he's going to kill her, or he's going to be after her, so I'm just going to stay away from her, as far away from her as possible, and stay out of the house that was belonging to his family.
This is very good. This is very good reasoning, I have to say.
I'll probably be
10 out of 10. 10 out of 10.
I mean, I'll probably be okay if I just stay away from anything to do with him. I'd probably be okay. Whereas Freddy, in the first film,
it was
Freddy
very,
was for everybody.
it was very rigid to the same storyline.
In Freddy, he was getting back at the
family.
Kids of the parents that had burned him alive, which, you know, those are nonce anyway, so fuck him. But the progressive films,
technically he wasn't in the 1984 one. They never actually mentioned that. They just say he's a child murderer.
But Wes Craven,
yeah, but it's implied.
I know
it was implied.
Come on now, Greg. Don't be
the reason that they didn't do it because they thought the movie would get so much hate for it.
Yeah, no, they were never going to say it. You know what I mean? Like,
oh yeah, it's well implied, but I'm just saying theoretically he's not.
Yeah, but it.
Ted made a good point there, because you've actually seen in Halloween movies where, like, even in the early ones in the 80s, where like some guy would come up and fucking, you know, just happen to be there, and the most they'd get is a slap.
But
yeah, just get out of the way.
His mission is off out of my way. Whereas I'm pretty sure if you went up to Freddy Krueger when he becomes in life form,
he's still going to kill you.
You're a dickhead. He's like, yeah, you're on my list.
Yeah,
you just made the list.
No, but that's what I'm saying, because like, and actually, now that we think about it, everyone knows Michael's my guy. When we think about it, who's the scariest villain of all time? That is the scariest villain, because he's more vindictive than Michael Myers, if that's even possible. But he actually is, because he hates everyone equally.
You take, as you said there, like Michael Myers, he walks by Tommy Doyle, who's a kid on the street, could have easily butchered him.
Yeah.
Just left him alone. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
He could have killed the cop, didn't kill him. He only had his eyes on one person.
Yeah, and I think for me, that's what eliminates Myers here, is that he's very hyper focused on one path. The path kind of zigzags a bit, but it's always, that's the end goal. Whereas Freddy is just, he starts out as, right, I'm going to punish the kids of the people who killed me, and then he was like, hang on, why the fuck am I limiting myself to that? Let me just go buck wild here, just start killing anybody I fucking feel like. Anyone that I feel may have wronged me, or for some reason I just decide I'm going to kill them. Yeah. Let me kill them.
You're sleeping, are you?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm bored.
Yeah, dead.
Well, none of the people I was planning on killing tonight are sleeping, so suppose you're
next list.
Yeah, you're next here.
Eventually, then, like, it got to a point where he was just killing friends of the people he wanted, so then he'd torment them.
Yeah, he's just an absolute monster, like.
Yeah. So, in fact, the greatest villain of all time.
I think so. I think he's the scariest here because it's the idea that you cannot sleep. And that there doesn't really need to be a reason why he's going to come for you.
Well, you see, he's the greatest villain of all time on this particular list.
Yeah, definitely on this list.
You put Dracula in this list, Dracula wins.
Absolutely, that's what I mean. I mean, it's like because Dracula is just literally the greatest villain of all time.
We
Because
we said that off screen.
we
It
did,
is the
we
greatest
did.
camera. It's the greatest creation in terms of horror, in my opinion. Anyway,
And it's also what's great about it is that like it's a book that was written in the 1800s, and yet literally it still stands the test of time purely because of like there's the human elements in the character that has
Yeah.
become so bitter, but yet now he is this unbreakable force
Hmm.
and an immovable object that like you can't do anything to this guy.
yeah.
Fair enough, you can get a stake through his heart, but let's be honest, who's going looking for it? You going
Yeah.
up to Castle Dracula during the day?
I don't know. Blade done a good job on him.
Fuck Blade, like that's again. This is Marvel stuff.
Yeah.
We're talking about old school Dracula.
Um,
Don't mind that guy.
yeah, no, I loved, I know it's not as much horror, but I loved the version they done of Dracula Untold with Luke Evans, where he was Vlad the Impaler.
Well, I bet that's a great. That's a
Yeah,
great. It's
and
it's
Yeah.
great. It's a different.
I really think
take.
that deserved a sequel.
Yeah, no, it was good. I mean, look, for me, Bela Lugosi and Christopher Lee will always be the Draculas. Like it's hard to pick one of the
I'm
two.
the Oldman guy. I don't. The film isn't great, but
But
Oldman,
Oldman is fantastic as well.
Yeah, Oldman's great in it. Yeah.
It's
it's a different.
closest to the book as well.
Yeah, it's different. It's a different version of Dracula.
Yeah, it's closest to the book. In
Yeah,
fairness, the Oldman version. And look, Gary Oldman is the goat anyway. But if you're looking for that Dracula with the slick back hair or the demonic eyes, I mean,
the white shirt,
oh
the
my
black
god,
cape.
Jesus Christ, those like Christopher Lee is the most probably vindictive one of the looking one of the lot.
Because he's
Yeah.
sinister looking bastard. He was.
Sinister looking, whereas Bela Lugosi is just one of the finest actors of all time, where he can just do a look. That look with the eyes, it's like wow,
Yeah.
So, but yeah, no, Freddie for me on this list definitely
And you
wins.
tried to
Yeah.
vote that man out.
Yeah, but he listened to, like, this is kind of the point of why we were discussing them as we went along, because you
Yeah.
might think I'll eliminate that person based on this, and then you hear reasonings why not to,
Yeah,
and that's what happened here. Ian heard reasons and he went, "Do you know what? Actually, yeah, you're right. We will leave him."
see, that's what good debate and opening the ears and listen
Yeah, you have
brings.
to listen. There's no point in just being there's no point in being like pig-headed and going, "No, that's what I said and I want it gone."
Yeah,
Freddie,
I mean, like,
there's
you
a
don't,
lesson for all the
you
kids now watching
not
who
move.
are sneakily watching this when you're meant to
Yeah,
be in school tomorrow.
Yeah.
You go into school tomorrow, listen. Don't
Freddie,
go.
just remember, Ian tried to vote you out. Put him on the list twice.
yeah.
You won't do nothing.
Don't.
I don't sleep, man. I'm Nosferatu anyway. Look where I live. Come at me. I've got Dracula on my side.
Well, lads, that was a hell of a debate. Freddie comes out on top of a 16 list. All the characters are awesome in them, though.
Yeah,
I know, as I said, I know Candyman and Hellraiser aren't my ones. The rest of the franchise, Chucky, so not so much either, but the rest of the franchises in there are all fucking bangers. And don't get me wrong, a lot of people love the ones that I don't like, which is fine.
yeah,
But like overall, as a list, there are a set of bangers in there.
yeah. As you said, you picked this up from somewhere, but there's no marker on it about who created it. So whoever
Can't even.
created it,
Well done.
Do you
yeah,
remember
whoever
how I
created it,
used
fair
to?
play to
Do
them.
you remember how I used to always give my movie recommendation of the week back in the
Yeah.
day? I have one for you. It's an '80s movie now. It's not your stereotypical '80s movie though. It's from 1987, and it's called White of the Eye. It is. It couldn't be anything further from an '80s movie if you
Right?
tried, in the sense of like it's none of this fancy little synth soundtrack. It's very very sinister. It's got a lot of Native American backdrop on it. There's nothing I can really say about it without giving too much away. But anyone out there listening, check it out. And by the way, it's also one that you can't watch just in the background.
So I have to make the joke here. What happens when you order Keith David off Wish? You get a white David Keith. The main guy in White of the Eye's name is David Keith.
There
Yeah,
you
but
go.
Keith David is also in the film.
Yeah. It's kind of funny, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's great. I love it.
I think
But,
I think we'll leave it with that then, will we?
Yeah,
Yeah, I think
check
so.
it
Yeah.
out. Check it out, and we'll maybe we will do a little review of it in a few weeks once we all
Yeah.
watch it.
Yeah.
It's on YouTube, so
On
go
the
source.
YouTube.
Yeah,
That's where we are. That's where you'll find us. On the YouTube. The U of Tube.
make sure to hit the like and subscribe button and hit the bell notification.
And you'll never miss an episode every single Friday night.
Absolutely.
Well, I think we'll leave it there. I'll finish this the way I finish every single Friday night, lads. In the words of the great George A. Romero, stay scared.